So preparing for the Best Warrior competition, mentally and physically, it starts with really an idea of where you want to go with it. For me, it was I wanted to make it to the Army final competition. So the first thing I did is start researching everything I could about it, learning what previous year's competitors did to get there, how early they started researching, studying, PTing, and I used their models of success and based that on my own. I started training almost a year and a half out, studying field manuals, Army regulations, basic facts, Army study guide, as well as changing my workouts to calisthenics, push-ups, sit-ups, focusing only on what was going to be tested at the events. Training mentally, it's all about discipline and having heart. At the end of the day, you have to train harder than the soldiers you're up against. So anytime you're tired, you're feeling like you don't want to study anymore, you don't want to work out anymore, you have to think that your competitors are up studying, they're training, and you need to prepare and make yourself better than them. So hard work and determination is really what it takes. So at no point in time in the competitions did they ever tell you where you're standing in relation to your competitors. And if at any point in time you don't have self-doubt, then there's something clearly wrong, because there are some amazing soldiers out there that have remarkable talents. So for me, there was certainly a lot of times where I would look at the guys to my left and right and think, like, there's no way I could be better than them. But what you have to drive as a soldier is have that self-confidence to do at least the best you can. It may not be better than anyone else that you're around, but as long as you do the best you can, then you can go home, win or lose, with your head held up high, with honor.
And when you sat down during the award ceremony itself, did you think they were going to get called as the non-commissioned officer of the year?
No, for the Army final competition, when we sat at the award ceremony, I was waiting for them to call the winner so I can go up and shake their hand, because I was really with some amazing guys that had so much experience, so much knowledge. They were definitely just as good, if not better than me. And sometimes it just turns out, depending on which competition, which events, I may have only bested them by 1 or 2 points, and it just goes to show how amazing our non-commissioned officer corps is.
And when Sergeant Major Chandler announced your name as the non-commissioned officer of the year, what went through your mind?
Yeah, I was just frozen. No Army Reserve non-commissioned officer has ever held that title, so there was a clear, from day one showing up, somewhat of a doubt that either the Reserves or the National Guard would be able to go that high. And not only did I win the NCO of the year, but the Army Reserve Soldier Specialist FROM took runner-up in the soldier category, so that the Army Reserves made an incredible impression at that competition. What's next for me now is that I continue advancing in my career. As a senior non-commissioned officer, I get to go back and bring this experience back to my junior soldiers and inspire them to better themselves. Not necessarily for Best Warrior competitions, it could just be for their NCOES, their educational schools, for their civilian careers. Anything that they set their minds to, it's my job to inspire them. And having this as a background is a great experience for me to be able to bring to them.
What have you learned overall from the first Best Warrior competition you did back February, March, whatever, till now?
The main thing I've really learned is dedicating yourself to something, having an idea of where you want to go and putting everything you have into it. One of the quotes I like to hear, and I've used as motivation several times while training, is that doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. And I feel like if you were sitting there at a company or battalion level looking at the Army final competition, you can't doubt your ability to get there. You have to think of yourself there and train for that. And so along the way, I've realized that, as corny or 80s movie as that might sound, or cliche, that it really is, you can set out to do anything you truly desire.
What would you tell your soldier if they wanted to compete in the Best Warrior competition? What would you tell them?
I would encourage any soldier to go and compete. Whether they win or lose, they're bettering themselves. They're learning more about the Army. they're on their own time. It's almost a version of self-development where they're honing their basic soldiering skills, and it's things that can actually help them training at home and on the battlefield overseas.